Hello and welcome back to Ayaron's world. So I've done a little bit of extra work on this, although not much. I've completed the walls, put the windows in, and put a roof on. Now this is just a flat wooden roof. I couldn't really think of or find specifically Roman designs for roofs, but I do think that they went for flat roofs reasonably often. And I just put in loads of skylights because I like having skylights, and it means I can look up at my cloud spawner and so on. Now, of course, I lowered this floor here by one and made the foundation one thicker as a result of lowering that floor by one, because I wanted to put a flooring in there, and because I didn't want it visible from under, from the underneath. That's why I had to make the foundation thicker. And then, of course, Mojang go and introduce carpets. So, wonderful timing on that. But I've already lowered this, so I may or may not use a carpet. It might save me wool if I put the design I want on there as a carpet. Although I think what I want is a row of normal marble first. So, blocks of quartz. I've got some quartz left. I've got a stack, which seems to get me about a stack of quartz, but it's not really enough yet. So, what I thought is, we'll just put a row of this around there. And then inside that, level with that, will be a carpet or a pattern made of coloured wool blocks. I'm thinking black and red seems quite imperial and Roman. And I think that will look quite good. And you can just walk up to the windows when you want to look out. I might extend this a little bit. Or maybe I should make it out of glass. I could just have like a glass balcony. That way I can come out and look around if I want to, but when I'm down there looking up at the building, it won't obstruct the view. Yeah, I still got that mod installed. In fact, I haven't been over to the village recently. Let's make sure we still have villagers. Right, stand here and go for it. Yep. Well, my two safety villagers are still up there. They're the ones that are locked away. Ooh, I'm not seeing anyone. We've got to look for broken doors. Oh, okay. Oh, I think they're all round the other side. For some reason, they've all crammed themselves into this one corridor. I suppose they like to be close together, don't they? This is why I'm thinking I do need to put some little buildings further out. Just so the villagers will wander a bit further. Because they'll only wander, I think, as far as the outermost doors of the village. Even though this dot shows, the dotted line shows the extent of the village's influence, in that any other doors... Ooh, he's going down to my... See, this is what I want. I want them to wander around down by my demonstration area. Okay, but of course, if I put a doored building here, I have to put one balanced up on the mountains or something. Sort of level with it, because I've got to keep the centre of the village in the centre of the spawning zones. But that isn't too hard to do. Right, let's go check on how much iron we've gained while I was building that thing. Right, so this chest has 2 stacks plus 8, and this one 2 stacks plus 36. So this is working, which is good. And I'm actually going to grab that iron. May as well empty this out. And the lights go out, because I want to work on hoppers and item sorting. Now I'm going to start by just item sorting the output from my cloud spawner, because I was having that problem where they changed it, so even if mobs fall into a single layer of water that's on a fence post, they still survive. So that has essentially broken that spawner. But now we have hoppers, I can just line the ground with hoppers. They'll land on the hoppers, die, and that's all for the good. Well, it's all for my good, it's not very good for them. So, what materials do I already have here? I think I need some redstone, because I need to work out how to do this. So I'm going to grab some redstone, some buckets of water, some chests, and so on, and we will see what we can do. So I've grabbed all the stuff I think I need in order to work out how to do item sorting. Now I've seen a number of people do this design, so I know the basics of what's needed. I just need to actually hammer it out so I can get it in my own head. Because the item sorting for the mob spawner is a preliminary, because I want to do an item sorting system for my storage room. I want to be able to throw absolutely everything in the game into a single chest, have it whiz off and sort itself into the right places. Yes, I am that mad. So, these are of course the two primary components which they relatively recently added to the game, which is what allows us to do item sorting. There is the hopper, which is what allows you to put items that are floating around in the world into chests, and items from chests out into other items. And then you can use dispensers or droppers to turn them back into floating items. And then we have the comparator. And one of the functions the comparator can do is it can output a signal based on how full an item with inventory is. And those two things combined are what let us do item sorting. So, I think I'm going to need some blocks as well. So if that's my reception chest, as I understand it, I need... I've forgotten already. Yes, what I need is a hopper that, rather than pointing to the chest, it needs to point sideways away from the chest. But there's not going to be anything in this direction. Then there is a hopper on top of that one. Or is it the way round? Yes, I think it's the other way round. I think that one always points down. And then essentially the hopper at this level points sideways. And now if we lock, because the other thing you can do with a hopper, if you give a hopper a redstone signal, it'll stop items from entering or leaving it. But it doesn't always work, and I think that's why you have to do this sideways pointing trick, unless that was a bug that they've now fixed. I'm going to assume it isn't, though. So what I need to do is measure a capacitor signal out of this upper one, and tell it that unless this thing has more than a certain amount of blocks, the one underneath should be locked. And that way the items will, because if I just throw an item into this upper one, hang on, I'm going to need like a staircase or something, aren't I? If I throw an item into there, it's just going to go down, and even though that's pointing sideways, it does go through that hopper and ends up in the chest. But if I lock this lower one with a redstone signal, then I believe the item will stay in this upper hopper. Oops. Right, so again, one piece of cobblestone went in. It's not in the chest. It's not in that hopper. But it's okay, two went in, but they're stuck in the upper hopper. Now, I just want to test to double check that if I just make this hopper point straight down, that one missed. That one went in, I think. See, it's not in the upper one. It's stuck in this one. So, essentially, with this hopper being locked, if the one above it's pointing straight at it, it will accept items from it, but it won't output them. If I break that torch, then it ends up in the chest. But if this upper one is pointing sideways, then this one won't accept or export items. Okay, so that's step one. Step two then is we need to measure measure what's in this one. So how can we do that? We can put a block there and drop a capacitor there. So that will output a redstone signal. I think that one needs to be a half slab. So I'm just going to extend this a little bit so we can see. So because this upper one is empty, I've got to lock that lower one, don't I? Let's just do that for the moment. So because this is empty, there is nothing coming out. If I add just a single item, the redstone signal is now going a distance of 1. But you have to add quite a bit extra before it goes any further. Oh, nice timing, dude. Interrupting my lecture. I know there's no one watching, but still. Okay, so let's position this so we can see that redstone signal. Let's see how many more arrows we need to add before that one lights up. Okay, so that lit up at 24. Pretty certain. At 22, it's only 1. Okay, 23 is a bit of a magical number on that. But the problem is, as it is at the moment, all these are still open slots. Which means any item can come along. I mean, if you come along and you threw in some cobblestone, it's going to end up in the second slot. So what you do is, if 23 is the magic number, we fill those with single arrows and then put the 19 there. Oh, interestingly, that has now made both of them light up. So there must be slightly different logic when those ones there are full as well. So let's try 18. Okay, there we go. So now the only thing that can enter this hopper now is arrows. See, that bounced off. And the moment another arrow goes in, the redstone signal will go one step further. Like that. So the trick is, what we need to do is make it so when the redstone signal is at this strength, the lower hopper is locked, and the moment it gets an additional item, it unlocks. That additional item will fall down into that hopper, and then down into the chest. And then that means this will then be down to only the 18 arrows in the first slot, and it will relock that hopper. And that way we keep our filter items. So I just want to test if I add items. Okay, so items, when that's locked, the items stay in that lower one. Okay. So it's 18 there and 1 in the others, because I need to redo this. Which means everything's going to end up in the chest. So how can I get a redstone signal to there in the most compact way? Now, I know there are some very good designs for this, but I just want to try and work it out for myself before I start. I put a block there, or maybe on top. Okay, so currently that torch is on. Oh, I don't have any of my items anymore, do I? I think the best thing's going to be to remove that hopper for the moment. Okay, so that's my 18 items. So at that distance, that torch is currently on. If I add one more, will that light up? No. Okay, I think I've worked it out. So this thing is set as we had it, and there's nothing in there, and there's nothing in there. So the first thing you do is you've got a comparator drawing out of this upper hopper, and it leads to 2 blocks with some redstone on top. Now, they are leading to this redstone torch here at the end, which is always on, except when you get extra items. So that's powering this line here. Now, you have to have a repeater here, because otherwise we seem to be getting power from there, strangely, that goes off in that direction, and it might power that block when we don't want it to. So I found this worked, and now if I just drop in 1 arrow, see, it went down to 18 and then stopped. Now the only disadvantage of this system is the arrow gets stuck at this level until I add a second one. And now there's still 1 arrow there, but 1 arrow has reached the chest. So there'll always be, as far as I can tell, 1 item in this hopper here. Now, if I just clear that out, I tried increasing the number of ticks on this, but if I set a delay there of 2 ticks, we get the same behavior. And if I set it to 3 ticks, then this reduces to 17. We still get an arrow stuck there, and we get 1 down there. And now we've messed that up, so even if we add 1 up there, nothing's going to move until we add the next one, and then it will tick back down to 17, and so on. So I think you're better off leaving that at 1, and just living with the fact that there'll always be 1 arrow in that middle hopper, or 1 whatever item it is you're sorting. And considering the fact you've already had to sacrifice 18, 20, 22 of the items up there, having an extra 1 down there isn't a problem. I mean, you can sort basically anything in the game other than possibly nether stars. And the fact that you have to sacrifice 23 of them to your sorting system, well, not an issue. I mean, even with diamonds, you're going to have more than 23 diamonds by the time you're trying to make one of these things. So now, if I am spewing cobblestone at this, they'll just bounce off, but the moment I spew arrows, they should go in. Ooh, okay, my design doesn't work. The one thing I didn't test was whether or not this upper hopper was actually always in a locked state. Well, that'll teach me for doing my testing by just right-hand clicking in there. Okay, we're definitely close. We're definitely close, but obviously we need to do a slight refinement to this thing. Why do you act as if you have power? I mean, I'm powering that block, but I'm not powering you. Oh, hang on. It's going in now. Was my aim just rubbish? It seems to be throwing them in a random direction. I think they're going in. Let's actually just stand right on top of this thing and hold them straight down. So, cobblestone bounces. Arrows go in. Right? Yes. Loads of arrows there. 1 arrow there. 18 arrows there. What if I throw more than one? Alright, I've got to get my aim right. Try throwing 14 at once. Nope. They fell short. Did they go in? They're not round the back. So that's ticking down. It stopped. We have 1 arrow there. Perfect. This is a design that works. The only thing No, yeah. This should work perfectly. Now if you're going to tile these, like put some next to each other, then I think it's important to make sure that we've got to make sure the redstone doesn't interfere with each other. I think I'm going to either have to have a block in between each one, or I'm going to have to... I suppose I could go off in the opposite direction, couldn't I? That might work. Let's actually test that, because that is actually what I want to do. I want a number of these next to each other. You can tile the chests either by making trapped chests, or just by having that chest one lower, and then it will have 2 hoppers on top rather than just the one. See, I can't go off in this direction because the redstone wire there and there will cross-connect. But I could go off in this direction. I need another hopper. And as I was saying, this one up here... needs to point away from the one I'm going to put next to it. Otherwise it would just flow straight into the one next to it. So you're probably better off putting all your hoppers pointing in one direction. I think that means that they won't send to each other. And because the ones underneath are going to be locked, that should set it up. Okay. So I need a block here. Then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And that's where my comparator goes. So comparator, redstone, torch, wire, wire, wire. Okay, so let's set these back up again. Oh, I didn't realise I'd put 2 there. I was wondering why the count was wrong. So we've got that one set up with arrows. This one we will set up with rotten flesh. Like so. Can I open... I'm going to have to dig out a little bit more of my floor, just so I can open that chest up. Now, having them go out to the left and right is not ideal. I probably am going to work on some way of getting them to get all the circuitry on one side. Reason being is that you want to be able to come up to your row of chests and have them all in front of you, whereas in this state you're going to have all your circuitry up in the sky and then drop down into like a different area. So it's less versatile. Main problem is that this has got a 2-tick delay, and if I add more repeaters and stuff... Oh, okay, we'll worry about that in a moment. Okay, so what I want to do is I need to like set up a little test thing here. Okay, so the way I envisage this system working... Well, yeah, I mean, there's different ways you can do it. You can either have items flowing by in hoppers sort of across the top, I think, or you can use a water stream. Let's test with a water stream to start with. So, if I just throw in cobble, they should just go straight over the top of those things and end up at the end. They do bounce rather strangely. That bouncing might actually mess this up. So, we had rotten flesh and arrows, didn't we? So the arrows should go into the first one. And that seems okay. And the rotten flesh should end up in the second one. And if we do a mixture... Right, has any of it reached the end here? Nope. And everything should have sorted correctly. There's a lot of arrows in there. There's one arrow there, and that's set up. No rotten flesh. Okay. Why are you acting like you're locked? Oh! Because I didn't put a repeater here, I put a redstone. Well, there's a perfect demonstration as to why you need to do that. We should now be getting rotten flesh. The sorting worked, it just wasn't dropping down. So that's back to 18. There's none there, there's none there, and that's all down there. For some reason this one didn't. It's probably because of that. Let's add some more rotten flesh to the system. All went in. I was afraid the bouncing might affect it. 42, none, none. Huh, interesting. This one doesn't suffer the arrow stuck in that middle hopper issue. I wonder if that's because it's got 2 before it gets there. Might do. Okay, so that works. Let me make another couple of hoppers. So now we'll test the other method of doing it, which is, if I just put a hopper there, I want that hopper to hooked into that one, this one hooks into that one, and this one hooks into that one. And of course we don't need the cobble anymore. One last chest. Which I'll just place under that one. So the idea of this system is your items are already in the hoppers. So, if I add items to this hopper, so I will add... I don't have any rotten flesh. That's because it's all been sorted. So I'll add items to this hopper here, and the idea is that when they go into this one, it should go, can I go down? If I can, I will, otherwise I'm going to go there. And I think that's how this works. Emphasis on think. So we'll throw in some arrows, some rotten flesh, some... What the... This redstone torch is burning out. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure why that's counting as an infinite loop. Does that do that for everything? Not for cobble. Doesn't do it for bone. I bet it will do it for rotten flesh. Oh. Okay. No, it's not doing it at all now. Well, the real question is, did it work? We've got arrows in that one, we have rotten flesh in that one, and we have everything else in this one at the end. So, that works. So that's two ways we can do the sorting, either with items that are loose in the world, via a water stream, or via the hoppers. Now, if only I could work out how to get this circuitry to be next to each other. You know, without it breaking. Let me get rid of this. That thing burning out has emptied that out. So there is something wrong with the design there. Make sure I grab everything from the chests. The arrows are okay, but this one lost its filter items. It's weird, this one's locking even though there shouldn't be any reason for it to lock. Because I've not hooked anything in yet. Is this block getting power because that block's getting power? That'd suck. Let me try something. So my thinking is the torches might interfere less. And the locking might still work. Oh, all the arrows ended up down there. Oh, well, this one isn't locking, is it? Oh, because I'm reversing the signal twice now. Let me have a think again. So, I was confusing myself with this new redstone, and that's when I realised I'd made a mistake with these things. These ones there should not be to the side. They have to be underneath. I think the extra row above confused my brain. So, oops, did that end up in the chest? Yes, it did. So, these ones need to be underneath, pointing to, well, that one can point to the chest, that one can point to that hopper, which will then go down to that chest. Okay. And then these are the ones that I apply the locking to. Right, I'll get back to trying to work this out now. Okay, I've got it. I was almost there. I had that one, I had this first line set up as we had before. And I'd stepped down from here. Oops, let's not actually break the redstone now that we've actually got it working. I'd worked out that if I put power into this block, I could actually pick it up from underneath that way. But then this line was powering this block, so I replaced that with a half slab. And I had that all worked out, and I was coming down to a redstone torch here at the end. But then I found that when I was bringing the power down from under there and trying to get it into this block here that was underneath that hopper or just direct to that hopper, it wasn't working. The heights were going out, the wires wouldn't connect. So I was almost there. So I did look up a video to help me with this final step. So thanks to SevenSevenXAK with his video. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description and so on. And it turned out that his design was, well, you know, he'd already had this bit the same as I did, and he'd already come down the way I had. It's just he'd realised you could pull power out of this block using a repeater, which had never occurred to me. So then that power can go into this block, which will turn off that torch, which is powering that block, which will unlock that hopper. And so it should work. Now I've got the system completely empty right now, so let me throw in some random collections. We'll put in some bones, some arrows, then some of that, then some bones. Oh no. Then some bones, and then some more rotten flesh. So we'll let that filter its way through, and hopefully this will all work and none of it will burn out. There you go, you start to see the redstone turning itself on and off as it's receiving stuff. Now that's locked itself again. I'm assuming everything's processed through. Okay, no, we've still got some bones, and then we're going to have a little bit more flashing on the rotten flesh line. So that's empty. All the bones made it to there. All the rotten flesh made it to there. All the arrows made it to there. And as before, there's a single item sat in the hoppers we're locking up. So it's a little less compact than I was hoping, but I suppose that's what you need to do if you want to tile these things right next to each other. If you didn't mind spacing them out one apart, because you can have, like, you know, just the row of hoppers leading one to another. So if you don't mind spacing them out, then you can just repeat this one over and over again, and you don't have to dig down into the ground. And I might actually end up doing that. But I wanted to work out how to get this nice and compact, just in case I needed to know how to do it. So I'm going to slowly circle this thing. So if you guys want to copy it, you'll be able to see everything you need to, just from various angles. So that is it for this episode. Next episode we can actually build this thing at the bottom of the cloud spawner. Now the bottom of the cloud spawner is going to have hoppers, so it's going to be based on this system, hopper to hopper system, because the items are already in a hopper. And I said I'll probably space double chests out. So I'll have do I have chests on me? I don't, but I'll have like double chest, double chest, double chest. And then up above will be the sorting system. So I'll put that on the floor beneath where the cloud spawner deposits everyone. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.